Hello, welcome to the Ghost N.E.A.R show. I am your host, Keith Johnson. Please join us on this episode as we road trip haunted Providence, Rhode Island. Now, Providence is, of course, the capital city of the state of Rhode Island. And while we're here in beautiful downtown Providence, let's visit the celebration of Providence Water Fire going on this evening.
Show basically. It pretty much was a show. But he was just absolutely and me and this is on Friday, Saturday night. Me and Andy, my buddy. You remember Andy, right? He acted.
Andy Pettis.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I've been around with him because he's like invincible. So.
Oh yeah, no.
The old Hospital Trust Tower and Fleet National Building, known fondly in Providence as the Superman Building because of its resemblance to the Daily Planet building in the TV show of the 1950s, The Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves. Here I am on the steps of the Providence Athenaeum at nighttime. Now this is Benefit Street. Of course, right along here at Benefit Street at nighttime, there have been reports of a soundless carriage going across Benefit Street, witnessed by a college professor, and also supposedly sightings of an apparition very much resembling that of Edgar Allan Poe. We'll see if we encounter anything like that this evening along Benefit Street in Providence, Rhode Island. course, this is the house that was the model for H.P. Lovecraft's original story, The Shunned House. Approaching the historic First Baptist Church. Continuing on along Benefit Street as the night progresses. Again, passing by what is sometimes referred to as the Shunned House on Benefit Street. Many old and historic buildings here along Benefit Street, of course. Many of them looking the same as they did in H.P. Lovecraft's day. Even some from the time of Sarah Helen Whitman and Edgar Allan Poe. The old Armory building, which of course Edgar Allan Poe would have been very familiar with.
From childhood's hour I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrows. I could not awake my heart to joy at the same time. In all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent of the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rode in its autumn tint of gold. From the lightning in the sky as I pass of me flying by, from the thunder and the storm, from the clouds that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view.
By a route obscure and lonely, haunted by ill angels only, where an eidolon named Night on a black throne reigns upright, I have reached these lands but newly, from an ultimate dim fooling, from a wild weird clime that lieth sublime, out of space, out of time. Bottomless vales and boundless floods and chasms and caves and titan woods, with forms that no man can discover, for the dews that drip all over, mountains toppling evermore, into seas without a shore. seas that restlessly aspire, surging into skies of fire, lakes that endlessly outspread their lone waters, lone and dead. Their still waters, still and chilly, with the snows of the lolling lily. By the lakes that thus outspread their lone waters, lone and dread, their sad waters, sad and chilly, with the snows of the lolling lily. By the mountains near the river, murmuring lowly, murmuring ever. By the gray woods, by the swamp, where the toad and newt inhabit. By the dismal tarns and pools, where dull the ghouls. By each spot the most unholy, in each nook most melancholy. There the traveler meets aghast, sheeted memories of the past. Shrouded forms that start and sigh as they pass the wanderer by. White-robed forms of friends long given in agony to the earth and heaven. For the heart whose woes are legion, 'tis a peaceful, soothing region. For the spirit that walks in shadow, 'tis an El Dorado. But the traveler traveling through it dare not openly view it. Never its mysteries are exposed to the weak human eye unclosed. So wills its king who hath forbid the uplifting of the fringed lid, and thus the sad soul that here passes beholds it but through darkened glasses. By a route obscure and lonely, haunted by ill angels only, where an eidolon named Night on a black throne reigns upright, I have wandered home but newly from this ultimate dim Thule.
In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch's thoughts dominion it stood there, never seraphs red, fabric, half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious golden on its float and flow. All this was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day, along the ramparts bloomed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley, through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. Round about the throne where, sitting in a state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. And all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, which came flowing, 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 and sparkling evermore. A troop of echoes, whose sweet duty was but to sing in voices of surpassing beauty the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's highest gate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon his desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley, through the red litten door window see vast forms that move fantastically to sport melody, while, like a ghastly rapid river through the pale door, a hideous throng rush out forever, and laugh but smile no more.
Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song, in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and over his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim's shadow. "Shadow," said he, "where can it be, this land of El Dorado?" "Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow. Ride, boldly ride," the shade replied, "if you seek El Dorado." What is the significance being here in St. John's Cemetery in Providence, Rhode Island?
There's great significance. It's one of my favorite places. I've been coming here for years. A bunch of us after golf night would come here.
But it has a special
It has a lot of
significance for
Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe, does it not?
Yes, it does, because his fiancée lived right over there, which is where he met her. He first saw her from this place in her garden. He thought she was a ghost. At least that's what he claimed. H.P. Lovecraft also spent a lot of time here. This was one of his favorite haunts. So for me, that means a lot.
And he wrote a poem
Yes.
about Poe's visit here.
Yes. Yes.
In a sequestered
Yes,
church
sure,
where Poe once walked.
Which I should have brought with me. Anyway, yeah, so I love coming here just for those two reasons. I mean, two of my all-time heroes would hang out here. It's amazing. Plus, it's a beautiful spot.
I think it's just as historic that we are here too.
It is. It's so grand to meet you here. And during Necronomicon, in fact, we have picnics here.
Now, is there any talk of paranormal activity being experienced here in this churchyard?
I haven't experienced any. I've had some romantic encounters here, but
With the living?
surprisingly, yes. Nothing necromantic, but
Could have, like Poe thought Sarah Helen Whitman was a ghost, but he started up a relationship with her. No reason that you couldn't start up a
true.
relationship with a spirit if you were congenial.
But I've often wondered if I would encounter Sarah's ghosts. I know.
Or Poe's ghost.
Or Poe's ghosts. I mean, Sarah worked very hard in her lifetime trying to raise Poe's ghosts. She would often have seances, as many people know, but he never showed.
Now, she was some of an eccentric, wasn't she, in later years? Didn't she walk the streets of Providence wearing a black veil?
Yes, although her sister was even more eccentric. Her sister-
They loved to dress dramatically, is
Yes.
my understanding. That she would often go about draped in scarves, and she would be dropping them in a trail by accident because they weren't pinned in place, and her friends would have to follow along and pick them up and run up to her and put them back on her.
And as many know, Sarah is buried not too far from here in North Burial Ground, which is a wonderful place.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any comment on paranormal activity in this area of the east side?
I'm afraid not, no.
I don't live around here, North Kingstown.
I have not witnessed anything, but that's going to happen. I would say this part of Providence would definitely be where we would experience something like that.
And wonderful atmosphere here.
Yes, wonderful. It's a beautiful place.
I'm here in North Burial Ground, Historical Cemetery, Providence, Rhode Island, paying my respects to my direct ancestor, Captain George Child. This is a monument erected to him. He actually went down with his ship. His body was never recovered. In memory of Captain George Child, born at Warren, Rhode Island, September 18, 1803, passed from earthly life by the burning of the steamboat Lexington in Long Island Sound, January 13, 1840. Crowell, Edward R. Crowell, 1834 to 1914. Jane B. Crowell, 1838 to 1907. They are also of my family line. In fact, my middle name is Edward. named after my maternal grandfather. This is such a beautiful, majestic cemetery. Sacred to the memory of Mr. Joseph Butler, son of Samuel Butler, Esquire, and Mary his wife, who died on a passage from the West Indies, March 7th, 1788, aged 23 years, 3 months, 7 days. Here I am at the Phillips plot, located in Swan Point Cemetery, Providence, Rhode Island. And this is the final resting place of renowned Gothic horror writer Howard Phillips Lovecraft, born in Providence on August 20th, 1890, died in Providence on March 15th, 1937. Whipple V. Phillips, that is Howard Phillips Lovecraft's grandfather, and his wife Roby A. Place should be his grandmother, and that is my side of the family, the Place side. And here we have the graves of H.P. Lovecraft's parents and his own, Winfield Scott Lovecraft, his wife Sarah S. Phillips, and their son, Howard P. Lovecraft.
3:45 p.m. We are at H.P. Lovecraft's grave on the date of his birth, which is August 20th. This is 2022. He was born in 1890. And even though it's sunny, we have some peals of thunder in the background. So that's making it rather dramatic.
Yes, quite appropriate.
Yeah, we should have kind of a crowd here, but they're all down at the Graduate Hotel.
Yes, for the Necronomicon. And somebody wrote a cute little poem here. Let's see. It says, "For the old gent, if you only knew who've inspired you with words of dread, I dare say you may have gasped, shuddered, and lost your head." Glen C., 2022.
Hear the thunder?
Yes,
What's that?
thunder
Rolling
going on.
thunder.
Notice the words etched on his headstone, "I am Providence." That, of course, is a quote from a letter written to Howard's friend Helen Sully. "I am Providence, and Providence is myself." This is the Lovecraft and Johnson family tree, which my brother Carl has brought along, which shows how we're related to H.P. Lovecraft. Thank you for watching this episode of the Ghost N.E.A.R Show, and may God bless you.